afternoon, I'm Chef Porter. This is class number 4 at Green Springs Medical, Potables. We're going to be doing some drinks, some infusions, and today we're going to cover how to make a tincture and a simple syrup using a alcohol wash like we'll be doing today. You can have it done from start to finish in under an hour and have your tincture ready to use. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to start with some, I already, for the sake of time, decarbed this already, but this is a 1/2 ounce of cherry wine hemp, CBD hemp. So side note, something I want to make sure that everybody knows. So this is what it should look like after it's decarbed. A little brown, you still got a little green in there, but it's still, still viable. So big number one thing when you are making your edibles, decarboxylation. Decarbing is key. Your plant material starts out either cannabis or hemp. The active ingredients you're really looking for are bound with an acid molecule. Either in the case of cannabis, it's THCA. In the case of CBD, it's CBDA. So, and the other important thing, those two take different temperatures to properly decarboxylate. Stuff you don't need to do anything with, just poured it out right onto the tray, baked it, and away we went. If you are using bud, you're breaking down buds, you want to use your hands or small scissors and gently break them down into like Skittle, half Skittle sized pieces. Because if you put them in a grinder, that's fine and well, but you're going to knock off a lot of the trichomes. You want as much of that in your infusion as possible. So take the time, break it down by hand, get a little pair of scissors, snip them down, break them into little pieces before you decarboxylate. For about 20 to 30 minutes at between 220 and 240 degrees. That's a sweet spot for cannabis. If you're decarbing for CBD though, you want to go around the 280 degree area and you want to decarb that for about 40 minutes. After that digression, got your plant material, got it on here. Now what I would recommend when you're decarbing is you want to take some parchment paper, ideally, or if for some inexplicable reason you forgot your parchment paper, such as I may have done today, get another piece of tinfoil. Just crumple it up a little bit, lay it on the tray, and what this is going to do is it will keep your plant material from being in direct contact with the metal surface, so you don't have to worry about accidentally overheating, overbaking your medical product, whether it be cannabis or hemp. So just kind of spread that out a little bit, whatever. Get that all kind of happy there, but yeah, crumpling it up like that gets it up in the air a little bit, gets it off that direct contact. You want to put a second piece of foil over the top. Now there is another method if you are concerned about the smell, because this will stink up your house. I mean, stink's a relative term. You're going to probably think it smells awesome, but neighbors are going to think you're smoking a pound. So, if that is a concern, you can put it in a mason jar. Put that mason jar on a towel and set that in the oven to kind of, you just want to insulate the glass from the metal. And that crack the lid a little bit so that the air pressure can kind of normalize as the heat comes up. That way you won't have any kind of an explosion. Very important thing, very important side note. I don't like doing it that way because I think it's dangerous. Get all that done, throw the bud in there, set your timer. 20 minutes for THC, or 20 to 30 minutes for THC, 40 to 50 minutes for CBD. Side note, the kind of oven, you know your oven, so adjust. These are all, what should we call them, guidelines. Hey, look at that, it's done.
The magic of TV.
Magic of TV, Alakazam. All right, so we've got our lovely magically decarbed flour now. But something like, if you're using a toaster oven, it is going to hit it with a lot more heat much more intensely. So you'll probably want to go a little lower heat and a little less time just to be safe. Now, onto the alcohol wash. So what we're going to do here, we're going to take our flour, which is, we got about a 1/2 ounce here, so
Now, when you are doing this from home, do you need to let it cool completely before you do anything, or it's okay to work with it when it's still hot from the oven?
It's okay to work with it when it's still hot, as far as I know. Someone may holler at me about that later, but from the research I've done and the experience I've had with it, you know, plus it cools off so quickly by the time. If you're like me, if you're doing it at home, like, oh, timer's up, okay, then you go out, and I'm really not very organized when I'm cooking at home. It's just kind of, you know, it just kind of happens as it happens. It's a very relaxing thing for me, so by the time, you know, it's gonna cool down super quickly, yeah. So, we're gonna be using around let's see, we're gonna start with about a cup of, about a cup of PGA, pure grain alcohol. We're going to start with half. We're going to, basically, you want to just pour it in until it covers the flour. Get a nice little bit of saturation. Put the lid on. Now, the first time that we used this method in this class, we did it with a mortar and pestle. Like I said, there's hundreds of different ways you can do this. This time, figured, you know, we'll just skip that, just put it in a jar, shake it around for a good 2 minutes or so, 2-3 minutes. Then we're going to strain that off into a rice cooker. Now you can use, for that stage, you're gonna wash it 2 or 3 times. The more times you wash it, the darker your liquid's going to get. Like, this first strain is gonna be nice and green and kind of pretty. Second strain is gonna be a little tan. Third strain is going to be real dark. It's just going to be stripping every available thing out of the flour. But yeah, it's a real simple you know, way to go about it. But again, this is why you want to gently break down the bud by hand, because you want all those trichomes, everything you can, ending up in this solution.
Where do you find?
Sorry.
No, go
ahead, Lee.
Where do you find the alcohol at? Like, you buy it where your liquor store?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's very
You can use Everclear, which is what I would normally, you know, anywhere else what you probably use, but we're in Arkansas, so Gym Clear. I mean, come on.
The good stuff.
The good stuff. Get some of that local hillbilly white lightning. Plus, it's like $1 or $2 cheaper.
How much alcohol did you use in that?
This was, let's see here, I measured off a cup to start with, so I put about just a little over a half cup in this first wash, and really it's one of those, again, it's one of those guideline things. However much, since I'm only decarbing half an ounce and this shake was ground pretty fine already, it's just whatever you need to kind of safely cover the flour, cover it well. And hey, welcome, pull up a seat wherever. So yeah, you just, that should about do for the first wash. Now, so first class 2, now you can use cheesecloth. I have recently become a convert to the pantyhose because working with cheesecloth is a pain in the butt and it's difficult to find because it's in somewhere different in every single store.
And then it's a lot more expensive.
Yeah, it's a lot more expensive. This stuff is like 50 cents for 2 pair of these little knee highs and works pretty good. So instead of like wrestling with a rubber band and all this other crap, you just stretch it over there. Bam, you got your filter. Pour that right into the toe. And string it out, yep. We are a classy lot here.
But it's all low.
Yeah. Oh man, this is definitely probably a. So, has anyone else been watching Mindhunter on Netflix lately?
Yes.
I feel like that was the wrong thing for me to be binge watching last night. I was kind of going through this step of it. It was making me feel some kind of way.
Yeah, it was good.
But okay, so we got that. Stretch that back over, keep it out of the way. Well, all right. Wash number 1. On to wash number 2. So, depending on how many washes you do, probably use between a cup to like 1 2/3 cup of Everclear. Please remember to silence your phones for the remainder of the performance. I have that same. I have that same ringtone. I've got to change it, but like mine breaks down into a DMX song, so it's kind of weird. Like it starts out, everyone looks around, and they get real confused for a minute. Oh, let's see here. But yeah, so today I figured. So once we finish. So all the THC, or well, in this case CBD, all the CBD in this is now active since decarbing it. So at this point, really, once you strain it out, you could take shots of this stuff and or drip it straight in and use it. It would be perfectly viable. But it is also white lightning, so it depends on what you're looking for. You want to do some cocktails or something? Skew, get it. It will work out beautifully. If you want to use it for slightly more responsible methods, we're going to want to cook this down. Because what that's just going to do is we're going to gently evaporate the alcohol out of the mixture, and so that we're left with a concentrate. You don't have to put nearly so much pure grain alcohol into whatever you're trying to medicate with.
Yeah, that's a different kind of medication.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is great, a lot of fun, but maybe not conducive to performing at your job or in life in general. All right. Wash number 2. But yeah, so once we're done with this, we're just going to do 2 washes on it today. But
Is it best to do more?
it's all a matter of how much you want to try and get out of it. So like the general consensus seems to be that 2 washes, 3 washes gets you the most out of it. 4 is probably a little excessive, but it's really up to you. At that point, if you're that concerned about getting everything out of your product, you can always kind of save it, dry it out a little bit, and use it as a dried spice or seasoning in some of your food. We made a pesto last week, and we took we made an olive oil and coconut oil blend for the pesto. We made the pesto, then we took the bud, threw it into the pesto with the rest of the seasonings. So good. Mm-hmm. So good. It was, yeah. So I highly recommend that. This is it's kind of what our wash looks like now. So we're just gonna pop this into our rice cooker over here, uncovered, and flip the switch on it. This is going to get up to a little simmer. You want to let it reduce down by about 3/4, whatever you've got in there. You really want to reduce down till it's less than half of the volume that you had before, in my personal opinion. Again, this is up to everybody, how you reduce it down however much you want, but you definitely don't want to go past that 1/4 amount, because then it's going to kind of turn to a tar.
What if you don't have a rice cooker? A crock pot's fine?
Yeah, crock pot's totally fine. You can use a crock pot. You can use a pot on low, like a saucepan or pot on real low on your stove. I would recommend trying to avoid that if you have a gas stove, because as the fumes come up, I mean, you use a high enough pot, the fumes shouldn't be able to, because what happens is the alcohol vaporizes, the fumes creep up over the edge, and that's what ignites, backdraft comes back into the pot. That's how, when you see people like, chefs and stuff, when they're flambeing and things like that, that's what you pour a little wine in there, you tip the skillet, and those fumes come up over the edge, sets the whole thing up. Shouldn't be that bad. Like, I've done plenty of things with pure grain alcohol like that, but it's just better safe than sorry. If you've got a gas range, just you find some electric way to reduce it, or do it on real low with a high walled pot, so that hopefully the alcohol there's not enough of it to kind of go over and the vapors catch, and whatever the technical term for that is.
Reduce by half?
Yeah, I would say reduce it by anywhere from a half to 3/4 of its previous volume. What we're going to be doing,
So how long does it cook in that rice cooker up there?
it cooks for, it's going to take about probably 15 minutes or so, 15 to 20. You can actually see
On
it's
high or low?
Is it simmering
rice
already?
cookers only have the one setting, but if
So
you're doing it on your stove, you do it on low.
I'm doing it in the crock pot.
Okay, so yeah, low in a crock pot, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you don't want to get it up too high. And the crock pot, it's not going to be hot enough to like really damaging the terpenes, damage the THC or the CBD, because water's boiling point is 211 degrees. Alcohol, much lower than that. So you're safe there. Crock pots shouldn't get up above that, but offhand, I couldn't tell you what temperatures a commercial crock pot gets up to. Just, it's low and slow. That's the safest, that's the best way to go. Just take your time with it. It's going to work out best. So, figured we could make a simple syrup today. There it is. Through the magic of television, I have some already cooked down tincture. What you want to do with it from there, if you're wanting to make a simple syrup, you can take the tincture. What's great about it, because you're using pure grain alcohol, it evaporates really easily. So you can mix it with sugar, salt, other spices that you would like to have. Actually, I'm gonna bring this foil back out. You can mix it with other spices and then just let it evaporate overnight. So you have a medicated, infused, in this case it'll be sugar, but you can easily do it with salt. You can do it with pretty much any other kind of, if you want to do it with a dry herb for whatever reason. So we're going to mix this into about 2 cups of sugar. We're gonna just make a little hole in the middle, kind of like you were making biscuits. Pour that liquid in. And just mix it up.
Let's say it gives a new meaning to brown sugar.
Yeah, I don't know, this is green sugar. This is green sugar. Much like brown sugar, but better.
Better.
Yeah, instead of extra molasses and whatnot, it's got a whole bunch of lovely pain-relieving properties. Oh. Okay, so that's it. That's all that it takes to make a green sugar, or a green salt, which would be awesome for savory cooking, seasoning meat dishes. There's hundreds of different things that you could do with that. But you mix it up like that, then just put it aside somewhere dry, warm, whatever, and let it dry out overnight. Done. We've got our already dried out infused sugar here. It's going to be a little crunchy, a few pieces, so you gotta kind of break it up. Not a big deal. But so for a simple syrup, I just wanted to get the coffee out of the way first. By the way, if everyone didn't know, we're going to be doing a pumpkin spice latte, infused pumpkin spice latte, among other things. Yeah, a couple people know how much I despise pumpkin spice everything, but the flavor profiles work. They just work. Yeah, it's good, and I got to just stop hating on things that are good, I guess. I don't know what I'm going to do with myself, but, alright, so. Yeah. Gotta have a little caffeine to making our simple syrup. If you've never made a simple syrup before, it is real simple. It's real easy. It is, you can do either, most people do equal parts water and sugar. I like to do a little more sugar than water. But so for this one, we're going to be doing about 1.5 cups of sugar to 1 cup of water. And from here too, there are all kinds of other things you can do, like if you're making this simple syrup, say you got a bunch of, you got some berries, you got some fruit on the tree in the backyard that's getting ready to go bad, chop that up, throw it in there, and you've got like a nice infused syrup. You could put in like soda water or your coffee or whatever. You got like a fruity infused syrup. You can do all kinds of cool stuff. Get a look at this tincture. You guys can kind of see if anybody wants to. It's sort of got a nice little bubble going. Now, with the simple syrup, all you're doing is you're just putting the water and the syrup in here together until it comes to a simmer. That's going to be enough to suspend the sugar in the water. So, if you want to add it to, like, say, Kool-Aid or a sweet tea or whatever, something like that, you can just pour it in. You don't have to worry about those little granules in there, those little kind of crunchy granules. So that's the benefit of having a simple syrup. The sugar is reduced here. There's a little bit of residue because we put our tincture in there. So don't be freaked out by that. But it's just excess plant material. Now, like, I'm gonna do 2 different things. I'm going to use the simple syrup for the chai. I'm also going to use it to make our pumpkin spice syrup. So we're going to split this in half real quick. Alright, now, turn the heat back on this. We're going to give this about a cup of our syrup. Good. So you got about a cup there. We're going to let that start reducing. I opened this previously because, I don't figure anyone needs a tutorial on opening cans. But we have you can do it however you want, but for the sake of, seasonal availability, got a little canned pumpkin. But that's about a half cup, 1/3 cup, right around in that area. Add that in there. So get our maple syrup.
Now, you could infuse bourbon, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because
You
I
can
usually
absolutely.
put bourbon in my pumpkin pies.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So this is what happens when my wife lets me go to Walmart and stuff, like by myself, unassisted.
Buy all the little cute
Yeah,
stuff.
like I found myself, I was trying to think of what I might have been missing, for the, like, man, there's something else. So like, I'll just, stroll through the gadgets aisle to clear my head. And it's like, it's like, oh, look at this super cool, really cute little measuring cup that's got a bunch of different, it's got a bunch of different little measurements on it.
Measures tablespoons, measures quarter of a cup.
Exactly, and so this is something that I knew, but a lot of people, it's easy to forget. 4 tablespoons equals a 1/4 cup. So just for everybody's edification, because it's always you get the recipes. And it's like 1 tablespoon of this, 2 tablespoons of that. Well, then you want to make it bigger, and you're doing like 15 tablespoons of these little things. It's just 4 tablespoons, 1/4 cup. Gotta have the pumpkin spice.
You might also say that is pumpkin puree, not pumpkin pie filling.
Yes. Specifically, pumpkin puree, not, so it's just straight up pumpkin, not like a pre-made pie filling. That way you can control the flavors.
Way too sweet.
Less preservatives, things like that. So, about a capful of blend that up a little bit, make sure everything's nice. Side note, most of the recipes want you to strain this after you get done simmering it. So your choice. You can strain it out and make like a nice like Starbucks quality syrup, or you can just ladle some in, which is what we're gonna do because I like whole plant things. I like things that are not 4 times removed from reality, you know, so we're gonna make some actual pumpkin spice coffee if I gotta make a
It's kind of
pumpkin spice
contradicting, because
something.
sometimes when we medicate, we're 4 times removed from reality.
I mean, I didn't say it wasn't hypocritical, but good point. Coffee? See how the bubbles come up and everything's strained out. It's just, all right, so. It's half and half because you gotta have milk, right?
And it should be half and half.
Gotta be half. I was gonna do heavy cream, but I didn't want to like really mess up anybody. I didn't want anyone to actually keel over at the class. I mean, I'm putting like 3/4 of a cup of half and half in this one. I didn't want anyone to actually keel over at the class. I mean, I'm putting like 3/4 of a cup of half and half in this one. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna add around 3 tablespoons roughly. I would really recommend getting some hemp, either ordering some hemp or, we are supposed to be offering hemp here at Green Springs soon. The other option, they have a great range of full spectrum CBD extracts, which is also important. Like if you see extracts, CBD and THC extracts, some of them say broad spectrum, isolate, or full spectrum. I got that kind of switched up, but the broad spectrum or the full spectrum or broad spectrum is really what you want, because that has the extra terpenes that were present in the plant, which have a synergistic effect with the CBD and THC. They are what really kind of give the different flowers their punch, and give them their unique properties. So, all right, so moving on to the one that I was excited about, which is the chai tea. So we're gonna make a blended chai, and while I was wandering around, I took the glass, walked off with it. So I'm gonna throw some ice in here. I've got some chai that I blended up last night. That I steeped last night, so it'd be nice and potent, ready for today.
Blended it up, folded the little envelopes for the bags himself.
Tied
the string
Tied
on.
the string, yeah, made this cool packaging for it. Like, I've got a lot of extra time on my hands right now. Alright, so we're gonna do about 1/4 cup of our infused sugar mixture into this. See where that gets us. Got our chai. And of course, heavy cream.
How many milligrams do you think would be in that 1/4 cup?
Like iced chai.
Let's see here. In that 1/4 cup, that should be around 200 to 300 milligrams with the bud that we used today, which was the cherry wine hemp. It has about a 15% CBD content. Here, while this is blending, we'll walk through the calculations on that and see. Check this real quick. Yep, that's there. I'm not sure what the Apple version of this is, but on Android I've got an app called Weedables, and it helps you calculate all the potency of what you're doing. Okay, so that gives us a like 4 milligrams per milliliter is what the, in 2 cups of whatever, which let's say that after all the conversions and this and that, so about 4 milligrams per dropper, roughly, something like that. But so if you take that and let's times that by 4. So we got about 1,904 milligrams of CBD, roughly, out of that.
That half ounce.
Out of that half ounce. So let's say we went through all these steps with the alcohol. You know, we started with like a cup and 3/4, reduced that down to like a 1/4 cup, and then we mixed that in with sugar. We said it was 2 cups of sugar, and so really, all we're doing is we're dividing this number, 1,904, into 2 cups. So you've got your 2 cups of sugar. Let's divide that. We put what was it? We put half a cup roughly into that chai tea. So yeah, so that would be in that big jug of chai tea, we had about 952 milligrams of CBD. So actually, no, that's not right. It would have been actually half of that. It would have been more like 400 milligrams of CBD. So yeah, enough to mellow out and take care of the pain of everybody in this room. Generally, as far as dosage goes, and it's different for everybody. Some people react to edibles differently. They hit some people harder than they do others. But it's kind of an accepted 5 to 10 milligrams of THC is roughly equivalent to like one good like hit of a joint, basically. So kind of think about that when you're making your dosages. And as far with CBD, it seems like you need probably about twice that amount is what seems to be my personal experience. Like if you only need 15 milligrams of THC to feel good, you'll probably want like 30 milligrams of CBD to help with the pain that you would be dealing with there. Someone had a question.
That tincture that you made out of that half ounce,
Yeah.
how much did that produce?
So that half ounce, that produced that 1,904 milligrams of CBD. So it was like cooked down, it was really heavily concentrated. When we mix that into 2 cups of sugar, and what I do is if I make this stuff at home, I will, I'll label the jar and I will put down how many, I didn't do it on this one, but I will put down how many milligrams per cup of CBD or THC is in that particular ingredient. So I've got a jar of sugar and I know, okay, this is 400 milligrams per cup or 800 milligrams per cup. So I can dosage properly when we're baking or doing whatever, using it to make other edibles, putting it in coffee, what have you. It's real handy way, and that way you can get a better grip on it. Side note, I talked about this in the first couple classes, but we got a lot of new faces here. CBD, the other reason I would really recommend introducing CBD into your edibles and into your smoking regimen, whatever you're doing, is because it will mellow out and work with the THC. So everyone has been at that point where they're just a little too stoned, a little too medicated to do anything. CBD will help you. That will kind of balance everything out. That's about it, guys. Thank you so much for coming. We're gonna do balms and salves next week. We're gonna work on making some actual topical salves that you can rub on.